Hi, this is MXUX. This is on the Q4 22 earnings call of Lordstown Motors. Let's get started. Okay, I am going to do an initial reaction video here. I'm just going to freeform my response to what I just went through, which was listening to the call. Let me just start with the financials. I think that I don't want to get into too much detail on financials. I get a bit bored with them. Let's just say that Lordstown Motors has about a little over $200 million in operating capital. Certainly they have other tranches of capital coming via the Foxconn agreement after certain milestones are met. And they also mentioned during the call other sources of capital which they were kind of nebulous on. It was kind of like an Elon Musk sort of teaser. But let me just say that Adam Kroll has done a great job managing expenses. Their SG&A, is it SG&A? Their legal is something that is kind of sticking in my craw. I have some information from a comment from a viewer about one of the legal cases, that is the Karma Auto, the sound and infotainment system lawsuit, which is a trade secrets lawsuit, which I'm going to do a video on. And just a spoiler, not much there. Not much there. Of course, they're going to have to defend, possibly in court, unless they settle, but that's not an issue. We have the Workhorse lawsuit, which involves Lordstown trying to get rid of an agreement to pay commissions on endurance sold based on an IP transfer, which really isn't relevant anymore to Workhorse, to the work that was done at Workhorse. And I think that's a case also which Lordstown could win, because what was the IP that was transferred from Workhorse to Lordstown? It's so minimal at this point. The truck is totally different. But anyway, getting off base here. So the financial state is stable, and they have other funding sources scheduled or mysteriously may appear. In any case, I don't think we have to worry about any sort of going concern message or anything of that nature. And as Lordstown has gone to the asset light manufacturing, the capex and the opex, this is the beauty of this system. So they don't have to make the expenditures on plant and so forth. But financially, I think the company is in a good position. Now, let's move on to the state of the endurance. Now, there was kind of a confession. You got to understand, Lordstown Motors has devoted itself to transparency. And of course, there is an SEC and a DOJ investigation into Lordstown Motors, which I feel both should be dropped. This company is so removed from the company that those investigations were started under. It's ridiculous. But the point is, and those investigations never had any basis, in fact, in my opinion. But anyway, the point is, they are going to over-explain, give too much information. I mean, as a shareholder, you should be very happy with the transparency they're providing on the endurance. I have done a previous video on the National Highway Transportation, their voluntary recall, which was issued, and it's a minor problem. They mentioned some other parts which may be minor problems. This connector of the power supply to the inverter, the socket was not done, molded to spec. That is the problem. It's a minor manufacturing problem. That when they went from just pre-production to more mass production, that was probably one cause. Possibly the lockdowns in China, because the part was produced in China, that may have had some impact on this as well. And any other parts that may be affected, that also may be an impact. But they mentioned basically two factors. One were these hardware issues, which I have gone over, which are really, they said they're not going to monetarily affect anything. The cost is going to be minimal. Really a kind of a nothing burger. These are just little bugs that they're working out. As Hightower said, this is what happens when you roll out a vehicle, and they're following a set procedure on this, and being totally transparent. So I'm happy about that. Now, they also did mention software issues and performance issues, and I just want to say that again, the range reduction in the endurance, I have always suspected, is a software configuration problem, and the intermittent failure of this connector, along with it losing conductivity, it was not failing, but it was also supplying less power than it should have. I think that in conjunction with the software, which obviously wasn't written to account for this, because how could they? It's an intermittent problem that only appeared, so forth. So anyway, the point is, I think that once these software changes with the endurance are rolled out, I'm going to make a prediction here that range is going to increase. And the parameters of the truck did change, and I'm sure they accounted for that with the weight, with the rollover, 5-star rollover rating of the endurance. But this intermediate failure of power supply to propulsion, or gradual increases and decreases, is what the research I have done that would have affected the performance of the motors. I think once this is worked out, we may have a range improvement. That's my take on that. Anyway, they did not give a timetable for the repair of this. I have read elsewhere that someone had estimated by next month, but they have paused production of the endurance based on this. Now, the other factor they said about pausing the production of the endurance is they're looking for a OEM partner to mass produce the endurance. So let's just talk about phase one, which is the 500 units of pre-production, which they're going to seed the community with. And I believe I'm correct in saying they're still going to do this at some point. They have the funding to do the 500 units. The reason it's limited to 500 units is because these are pre-production dies, and they will lose their edge, the stamping dies, after about 500 units, and that's why they're doing 500 units. But they have the funding to do that. They have done this recall. They are going to get the truck right, and I am sure they're going to resume production of those 500 units to move to mass production. I mean, that's my opinion. They did not give a firm statement on this, I believe, in the call, but I think at some point they're going to resume that after these things are worked out. But they said to move into mass production of the Endurance, they need an OEM partner to justify the cost to move to mass production, and that involves hard metal dies, which have always been the issue with Lordstown. I believe the cost of those stamping dies is between $90 and $110 million, and this is for the production dies. And Lordstown is looking for an OEM partner that would take the Endurance and put a different front grille on it and a different interior and label it as a Toyota pickup truck, for example. This is the white label truck manufacturing we're talking about. They mentioned that this would enable them to economically scale the Endurance along with this other as a fleet vehicle, along with the partner truck as a commercial vehicle. All makes perfect sense. Again, they are looking for an OEM partner. The Scout partnership, which was looking promising, has devolved into VW building a plant to build this vehicle. VW has not had the best of luck. I wish them luck with that. I think they should have done this. But let me just say this about all of this activity with the Endurance. Tesla's got a price war going on in EVs right now. So prices are, to compete, you're going to have to cut prices to compete with Tesla. Even the Cybertruck's coming out. It's not out yet, but I'm just saying, no matter what EV you have to compete with Tesla because they're the leader. We've got a Fed which is going to wreck the economy. They've never met their inflation squashing goals without causing a recession. Tom Lee says that the stock market may go up because there's some more clarity on what's going forward with the Fed, but it's still going to be rate hikes. The experts that I had polled in a video expected the Fed to pull back on Q1 of this year. They did not. I think the macro environment, interest rates are up. ICE auto sales are down. Interest rates on car loans are up. Companies now, the Endurance is looking at a lease market. Even the leasing companies are in dire need of electric vehicles and will at some point buy as many as can be produced. They are facing budget constraints as well. That's going to limit their purchases. Now, the Endurance, they're planning on seeding this community with the 500 trucks. The point being, if you're going to pause production, this is a great time to pause production, okay? To wait out the economy, the macroeconomy events that are going on, and to have an asset-light business model where you do not have the overhead of the plant and the staff building cars and so on and so forth. This is the beauty of the Endurance business model. And this is also the beauty that any OEM that would partner with Lordstown Motors for a white label pickup truck would have this same ability to pause production with little or no cost because of the asset light business model. And I think that we do have these modifications and financial restraints. I think overall, the pause in production is a wise move, considering the macro environment, considering the competitive environment from Tesla and so forth. And I think it's kind of brilliant in its own way. I do, as Hightower said during this presentation, it's a certified homologated platform. So the Endurance, it's got some growing pains right now, which are very minor. This will be a successful platform. I do believe they will get an OEM partner on this platform. I do believe they're going to produce other fleet vehicles on this platform. I think, based on this macro environment, pausing production of the Endurance, in my opinion, is actually a smart move. But now I had reached a comment from a viewer on one of my videos about Hightower's statement that they're not going to go in, they're not likely to go into mass production. I'm paraphrasing here. They're not likely to go into mass production unless they get an OEM partner. I think they're still going to do the 500 units. I think this is also a wise move for the Endurance platform, and I do really believe that this is going to happen. I mean, when you look at the companies, and let's just say Toyota, okay, if they're going to have an electric pickup truck and they're going to get the IRA tax credit, I would imagine they have some manufacturing facilities in the United States, but they don't have any battery electric manufacturing facilities, and they have a nascent, a very juvenile BEV program. I mean, that would be someone, obviously, that could be a target of something like this. Again, the macro environment, I don't think any smart businessman is going to want to launch this type of endeavor right now with the macro environment. So anyway, long story short, I think the Endurance being paused is not a bad thing. I think conserving cash and looking for an OEM partner, biding the time with the macro environment being what it is, especially the coming in. Now, there's two schools of thought on this. I do think the macro environment is, I saw a video the other day of a guy who was talking about how the Fed is propping up the stock market because, the bond market's up and the stock market's up and there's all these mixed signals. I can't, the point is we're coming out of an unprecedented, COVID thing with all that stimulus, but it's like the Fed did everything to save the economy during that, and now they're doing everything to kill the economy after that. And anyway, we're going to have to see how things work out. I think we could see some bad macro stuff coming out here, rolling out with these next two rate hikes. And, it's the interest rate, again, fleets aren't going to buy, individuals aren't going to buy, Ford sales are down. So much for the Endurance. I think the Endurance is a good platform. I think they can have these bugs worked out, so forth. Now let's just move on to the second half of the call, I'll say it, is about the MIH-based fleet vehicle that Lordstown Motors is in agreement with Foxconn to produce, and which Foxconn has mandated a percentage of this funding from the stock sale to Foxconn to go to this program, and Lordstown is required to meet this requirement under this agreement. And anyway, here's the point. I see this as a very big positive. I do not see this as a negative. I think the MIH platform is going to be very powerful. I did a video on MIH. I have a suspicion of what this vehicle could be. I'm going to put another video out on that. Spoiler alert, I think it could possibly be a competition to the 25K Tesla Tau. But in any case, Foxconn MIH is going to be massive, okay? And this is my opinion. And Foxconn is doing industrialization on this. A guy, I just read a quote from a guy. Foxconn can get electronic parts cheaper than any other company on the planet. And Jack Chang is the CEO of MIH, which is really a subsidiary of Foxconn. This is going to be really the first vehicle made by Foxconn at their EV facility in Lordstown, Ohio. Their first made at their production plant MIH vehicle. This is huge. And Lordstown is doing the development of this vehicle based on this MIH platform. This is very big, okay? And this is going to be, I think, years from now seen as historic. But for Lordstown to play a role in this, I think is fantastic. It shows you how important Lordstown Motors is to Foxconn and to their strategy of their BEV pivot. So what we're doing here is we're moving from the endurance focus, putting that on pause, and we're shifting gears to the MIH platform project for Foxconn, while at the same time pursuing an OEM partner. I think the flexibility that Lordstown Motors has under this asset-light manufacturing business model, I think it's really progressive, and I think that Lordstown Motors developing this, and now if I didn't misunderstand it, fleet vehicle with the MIH platform. Now, I had stated that I think this could be a competitor, and I have a video coming out on this. The vehicle they may be producing is the 25K Tesla Tau competitor, which would be the MIH Project X, which is a subcompact vehicle, which Jack Chen premiered. I have a video on this. The idea with this vehicle is it's supposed to be groundbreaking. Now, I'm not going to spoil that video, but I can tell you that Foxconn, I mean, we're all marveled by Tesla, and Tesla has been quite an innovator. Foxconn, in my research on this vehicle, is going to compete head-to-head with the technology with Tesla. Now, the 4680 batteries may be a difference, but Foxconn, they have, I'll just give you one example. You know, Tesla uses the GigaPress. Well, the MIH platform has castings in it as well. Not only that, Foxconn on High manufactures a GigaPress, at least one, it is in use by Volkswagen in their battery electric vehicle plant, and it casts battery cases, the cases that hold the batteries. So not only does Foxconn employ castings in the MIH platform, they make gigapresses. Who knows? They may have put one in at Lordstown. We don't know. There were hundreds and hundreds of shipping containers there that no one knows quite what went into that plant after Foxconn bought it. But anyway, I'm getting off the point here. So I'm very excited about this new program, and I think this is a very good. This just shows the partnership of Lordstown with Foxconn. I don't think it diminishes the endurance or the private business of Lordstown Motors at all. I do think other Foxconn models are going to be launched perhaps under the endurance label as well. But all in all, I see the call as positive. I'm a glass half full guy. I think that the financials are solid. Of course, always needs money. It's a pre-revenue startup. I think the status of the endurance, although on pause, I am confident that they're going to work through all these problems. I think that the outcome is going to be increased range on the endurance, and I don't think it's going to cost them a lot of money. On the legal front, I think they did mention that legal expenses are going to be up at Lordstown. I'm planning a video on the legal status at Lordstown. I think they have very favorable positions in all the legal matters they're facing. And I think that I see things moving forward. I think this is a good strategy to get through the economic macro factors we're facing right now. And these interest rates are going to cause companies and people to pause vehicle purchases. As I said, Ford purchases are down. They're not selling Mustang E's or Lightnings. Rivian is halting production. Basically the only BEV manufacturer that's selling vehicles right now, Lucid, of course, demand weakening. The only one is Tesla, because they have pricing power and they can cut prices. To sum it up, I think the call was it was carefully modulated, but I think it was a positive call, and I'm looking forward to the next call, and also on the progress of this MIH vehicle. I do have a video coming out on what I think this vehicle could be. That MIH Project X is set to launch as a prototype in 2023, and then shortly after go into production. That would be, I think, the first MIH program that's been announced. Now, there are 6 or 7 other MIH-based vehicles that are in development as well. And as well, we have Lordstown working on a van for the fleet market. They have a prototype. This could be built on the MIH platform as well. But I am suspecting that they might want to make a splash with the Project X. We don't know. It's conjecture at this point. I am going to do a video on the Project X. I do believe it is a direct competitor of the Tesla Tau. And by the way, I'm a Tesla bull. But all in all, positive call, and a pause that refreshes. That's what I say. Let's wait out this horrible macro environment and market environment, and get through this BEV winter, and then start production on the other side. That's what I say. All right, this is MXUX. Got a couple videos coming out on Tau versus Project X, and I hope you like this video. Good luck in the market. Thanks for listening.